Good evening and welcome to BATV News. I'm Andrew Laidley. The National Housing Trust, NHT, is this evening clarifying its position to start using credit reports in the processing and management of loans as of this month. The clarification comes after growing concerns on social media about the new policy. Anthony Morgan reports.
Since the announcement on August 2, many Jamaicans have been taking to social media to share their disappointment with the new NHT policy. Senior lecturer and a sociocultural analyst at the Institute of Caribbean Studies UWI-MONA, Dr. Donna Hope, posted on Facebook saying she was conflicted over the issue, adding that the NHT's management has been setting up lines of bureaucracy over the years with many obstacles which she believes are preventing most PAYE contributors from owning a home. Dr. Hope also argued on her post that if the NHT is based on contributions, then the ability to draw down on the fund should be based on said contributions. Another Facebook user commented that if the NHT was to go in the direction of requiring credit reports, then it should not become mandatory for persons to pay into the fund. The user also said it was time to assess the relevance of the institution, as to him, it is clear that those people for whom the trust was set up to protect are being robbed of the opportunity to invest and secure a future. Other comments, including that of past president of the Small Business Association, Edward Chin Mook, also argued that it was another way of keeping the small man poor. But in a press release issued late yesterday, the NHT said it will use the credit reports it receives from contributors to assist its operations in a number of ways. The trust asserted that the information would be helpful in verifying information submitted by individuals applying for mortgages in excess of NHT's loan limit of $5.5 million, noting that these loans are only provided in NHT schemes. It added that the checks would also be a way of assisting the NHT in designing programs to manage and service mortgages accounts, such as loan rescheduling, granting moratoria, or other initiatives to assist mortgages in arrears or facing difficult times. In addition, the Housing Trust says the use of credit reports will assist in identifying and verifying contributors in need of special provisions, such as grants and subsidies. For BATV News, I'm Anthony Morgan.
Prime Minister Andrew Holness says the government is seeking to make special funds available for agricultural entities that manufacture value-added products. The Prime Minister was addressing the closing ceremony for the 65th Denby Agricultural, Industrial and Food Show in Clarendon on Monday. Mr. Holness noted that a decision was made to pump funds into the agricultural sector, as this strategy is considered one of the easiest and quickest ways to achieve growth in Jamaica. Outlining other conditions to qualify for these funds, Mr. Holness said agricultural businesses generating foreign exchange from exports would also be considered. Those businesses engaged in import substitution, especially for crops such as Irish potatoes, red peas, and onions, will also be favored. Meanwhile, the Prime Minister urged businesses that will benefit to use the funds to get the maximum value for their products, given that the government is operating under tight fiscal constraints and will be shifting resources from another area to agriculture. The Prime Minister added discussions have been taking place with the Development Bank of Jamaica (DBJ) to provide more funds for the agricultural sector, noting that he will be giving a directive to the entity's Managing Director Milverton Reynolds to identify resources. He also encouraged agricultural enterprises that qualify for loans to seek to access them from the various financial entities that support the agricultural sector. Industry, Commerce, Agriculture and Fisheries Minister Carl Samuda has instructed that the Moneymusk sugar factory remains open until cane farmers' crops have been reaped. Mr. Samuda said he's pursuing negotiations at the highest level with Pan-Caribbean Sugar Company and its Chinese parent company Complant, which operates Moneymusk. This, he said, is being done with a view to ensuring that the corporations uphold certain investment commitments to the Clarendon-based sugar factory. The government has been involved in the operations of Moneymusk after the Chinese indicated that they were unable to keep the factory open for the 2017 to 2018 crop year. Minister Samuda was speaking at the Denby Agricultural, Industrial and Food Show in Clarendon over the Independence weekend. Red Stripe is giving back to its farmers. The beer company has decided to help build houses for some of its farmers involved in its Project Grow initiative. Sustainability manager at the company, Garth Williams, says it's a part of the company's mission to enrich communities. Here's more. 10 farmers across the island are set to receive brand new houses courtesy of Red Stripe.
Red Stripe has Project Grow, which is our local raw material sourcing initiative where we're replacing high maltose corn syrup that's used in the brew process with locally grown cassava. So we've got 3 farms in operation right now around the island: Bernard Lodge, here in Cheesefield, that's in Northern St. Catherine, and also in Spring Plain in Clarendon. Right? So we thought as a foundation that it would be good to give back to those communities that we have our farms in operation. So we said for this year, what we want to do is build 10 homes in those communities.
The project is costing the beer company some $5 million, but they're not doing it alone. They're partnering with Food for the Poor, which is an organization committed to providing affordable housing for low-income earners.
We're building 4 homes here today, and the farm in Bernard Lodge is smaller, doing 3 homes there. Our farm in Spring Plain is about 100 acres, so we're doing 3 homes there as well. Bernard Lodge we did on Labor Day. Here in Cheesefield, it's almost Independence Day, so it's a pre-independence gift. And then in November, pre-Christmas, so to speak, we're doing 3 homes in Clarendon, in Spring Plain. It comes at a cost of around $5 million to us because of a partnership we struck with Food for the Poor, who's in the business of delivering housing solutions.
Meanwhile, Garth Williams says as the company expands its farms, more houses will be built for farmers.
We love the idea, we love the project. We're expanding farms. So in 2018, we should be opening a farm in Windsor. That's in St. Catherine as well. So certainly we will be giving consideration to doing more homes, possibly for Windsor. But with the D&G Foundation, we're always looking for different areas in which we can support development. Our slogan is impacting lives, enriching communities. And really that's what we're seeking to do.
Still to come, Tax Administration Jamaica continues to surpass collection targets. The details after the break. Welcome back. Tax Administration Jamaica TAJ says it has exceeded the first quarter collections target for the 2017-2018 fiscal year based on the preliminary figures. Here's more.
The TAJ says its net projection for June this year was $26.2 billion. However, during that month, net collections totaled some $32.8 billion, representing 125.2% of projections. Year-to-date net collections now stand at $73.6 billion, or 109.4% of the $67.3 billion expected for that period. Meanwhile, the agency says refund payments made during the same period totaled $1 billion, with year-to-date refund payments reaching some $3.9 billion. Tax Administration adds that a review of the first quarter performance over the last 3 financial years shows that the target has consistently been surpassed: 103.1% in 2015-16, 108.5% in 2016-17, and 109.4% this year. TAJ notes that the positive outcome so early in the financial year is a result of the continued focus on compliance strategies. It says those compliance efforts included closer monitoring of arrears, which was facilitated through the implementation of the Revenue Administration Information System RAISE, the mandating of medium taxpayers to file their GCT returns online, the application of a system-generated penalty of $5,000 per month per return for late filing. Additionally, the TAJ says the implementation of strategies such as the threshold abuse and the new taxpayer registration programs may have also contributed to the outcome. In the meantime, the TAJ is reporting that its service and education push continued as taxpayer education teams, technical specialists, client relationship managers, and customer care agents interfaced with taxpayers to educate and inform them of their rights and obligations, as well as provide tax information and assistance. For BATV News, I'm Anthony Morgan.
Meanwhile, taxpayers can now do even more with TAJ Tax Administration Jamaica's e-services facility. Since the implementation of enhancements to its Revenue Administration Information System RAISE, the TAJ says the upgrade, which took effect yesterday, will enhance the user experience of taxpayers with added security and ease of use for their convenience. To facilitate a smooth transition, the TAJ says a user guide with details of the changes has been developed. The guide is available at www.jamaicatax.gov.jm under the How To tab. Persons may also get additional support through the Customer Care Center at 1-888-829-4357, contacting their Client Relationship Manager, or visiting the Taxpayer Education Unit located in Kingston, Constant Spring, Mandeville, and Montego Bay tax offices. Renewing and closing business names has now been made easier. The company's Office of Jamaica COJ says these services will now be delivered on the same day at no additional cost. The COJ notes it's a significant improvement over the 5-day turnaround time that existed previously. Before now, customers requesting same-day express services would be required to pay an additional $3,000, with next-day services costing $1,500. Registrar and CEO of the COJ, Judith Ramlogan, says the company has been listening to its customers, and the improved offering is another step in catering to entrepreneurs and investors doing business in Jamaica. She says, provided that there are no charges to the business name, the customer will submit the application for processing and pick up the document an hour after, paying the $2,500 fee. The Jamaica Promotions Corporation, JAMPRO, is coordinating a series of store promotions in London, England, to highlight Jamaican natural and organic beauty products and increase export sales in the UK market. The promotions, to be held at Pax Hair & Cosmetics store, will feature 11 Jamaican companies wanting to export or increase their presence in the UK beauty market. The estimated value of that market is more than £9 billion. The display will consist of some 39 different products and will serve to attract the interest of consumers and buyers, as well as boost exports for Jamaican beauty products. Meanwhile, JAMPRO says it has identified strong potential for increase of export sales in the hair and cosmetics industry in the UK and other export markets. The agency says it has also observed the growth in demand for castor oil-based products, which it has been working to develop in partnership with the Jamaica Castor Industry Association. In the meantime, JAMPRO says it's working closely with the Pax Hair & Cosmetics to provide training and interventions to get the company's packaging and labels up to UK standards. JAMPRO is an agency of the Ministry of Economic Growth and Job Creation. Stay with us. Regional and international stories are next. Welcome back. It's time now for regional and international news. Trinidad and Tobago's foreign currency crunch is threatening to drive some used car dealers out of business. According to President of the TNT Automotive Dealers Association, Visham Bawa, operations have been forced to put the brakes on new cars purchases because they're not getting enough of the foreign exchange they need. He says while banks have allowed dealers to use their credit cards to make purchase, they're being hindered by the low credit unit. He says the credit card unit, which is around $10,000 US, is oftentimes just half the amount needed to purchase a car. Mr. Bawa is also making a case for the car dealers to receive a better deal from the banks, pointing out that some wealthy individuals have credit cards with much larger limits to make their foreign purchases. He's also warning that the current situation is unsustainable, stressing that the small and medium-sized enterprises urgently need help to keep their businesses going. Meanwhile, in response, the Bankers Association of Trinidad and Tobago has explained that foreign exchange inflows into the country have declined significantly, and commercial banks have been asked to put trade and manufacturing customers first. In the meantime, the Automotive Dealers Association has called for a meeting with Finance Minister Combe Imbert. Britain and France say insecticide-tainted eggs may have entered the country. This as millions of chickens faced being slaughtered in the Netherlands in a growing European contamination scandal. More in this report.
It's a common pesticide used on pets to treat fleas, but fipronil is banned for use on animals producing food. First reported in Belgium and the Netherlands, the tainted egg scare has now spread to 7 European countries. The French Agriculture Ministry says that 13 lots of tainted eggs from Holland have been delivered to 2 food processing firms, and that 1 poultry farm has been placed under surveillance. The ministry says that there is no evidence contaminated eggs or meat have reached consumers. Since the scandal broke out in late July, millions of eggs have been taken off the shelves and destroyed. More than 200 poultry farms, mostly Dutch, have been temporarily shut down, and farmers may have to cull their hens.
We will remain closed until we can prove that fipronil has disappeared from our chickens and eggs.
A criminal investigation is underway to find out why traces of the toxin were found on eggs and chicken droppings. Belgian authorities have come under fire for their slow initial response. They were first alerted in June but didn't notify the EU until a month later. The neurotoxic insecticide can cause damage to people's liver, kidneys and thyroid glands, but scientists say risks from eating 1 or 2 eggs are minimal.
It's only risky if consumed in huge doses, around half a gram. An egg contains amounts 10,000 to 100,000 times smaller.
The dangers to consumers may be small, but for farmers, the scandal has major financial consequences in a sector that's still recovering from a recent bird flu crisis.
Spain is experiencing its worst drought in decades. The lack of rain means there is less water available for agriculture, and questions are being asked about what the future holds for the country's farmers. More in this Al Jazeera report.
The face of modern agriculture. These almonds were picked by hand a few years ago. Now, a tractor does the job. It's still hard work, these men say, especially now. Spain has been hit twice by extreme weather, a heat wave and the worst drought in decades. Miguel Vida is examining his olive trees. Spain is the largest olive oil producer, and the weather could impact the livelihoods of thousands of families.
It's not in bad shape. It could be better, but the trees will adapt.
Olive trees are extremely resilient, and some of these here are more than 500 years old. But with the predictions about climate change, what many people are wondering is if these trees are still going to be around in the next 500 years. The olive plant only produces the flowers it can support with the amount of rain it gets. But modern agriculture does intensive oil farming. It produces more, but requires large quantities of water. The largest family-run producers in Spain have gathered for a tasting. The amount of rain an olive gets is crucial.
Of course, can affect to the quality because the olive, the final product is going to be less intense. So maybe we're gonna feel some difference, no, in the bitterness, in the flavor, but it's not going to affect that much.
Miguel and his partner Francisco are worried. The country's production could be cut by half next year. It's Francisco's children, Alberto and Sarah, who have to cope with future challenges.
I'm an optimist. I don't think this drought will affect us. There was a massive drought in 1995, and we managed to survive that.
the industry's dilemma. Should there be less oil of a high quality from ancient trees or mass production from new water-dependent trees? They are banking on the first, and up to now it's been a good choice. Their oil is ranked among the world's top 10. But the success of this sixth-generation company and the industry as a whole hangs in the balance. And the weather is something no one can predict. Monica Villamizar, Al Jazeera, Priego de Córdoba, Spain.
Underground mining for gold can be a dangerous way to earn a living. Miners use explosives to dislodge minerals from rock, risking physical injuries and lung diseases from abrasive dust in mine shafts. Now, a campaign in Canada is finding evidence of neurological and brain damage among miners who inhaled aluminum dust. Al Jazeera's Daniel Lack reports from Ontario.
Parkinson's disease, we had 31 out of 325.
Janice Martel lost her father, Jim Hobbs, in late May. When he got Parkinson's disease, she found out that he, like thousands of miners in Canada, Australia, and elsewhere, were made to breathe aluminum powder before their shifts. It was supposed to protect their lungs, but it may have caused neurological diseases.
The people who brought this in were mining executives and industry doctors who stood to save huge compensation costs by forcing workers to inhale this powder as opposed to doing what they ought to have done, which was to spend the money on dust control and ventilation in the mines.
Named after the mine in northern Canada where it was developed in the 1930s, the powdered aluminum was approved by the Canadian government and used in many mines. Longtime miner Ken Kasunich also has Parkinson's.
It would be in the whole room and you could hardly see that because it was so thick with dust. And I could taste it on my tongue, you know. To this day, I still remember the taste of my tongue.
One of Canada's top experts in measuring toxic metal exposure is leading new research. She'll be using a nuclear particle accelerator to track aluminum levels in miners' bodies. Tens of thousands were exposed to the powder. Only a few hundred still survive.
There's something about the idea of people being locked in a room and forced to inhale a powder that is, I find personally abhorrent.
I hope we make it better for the next generation anyways. Yeah. I will.
This is one of the last times Janice saw her father, Jim Hobbs, before he died. The family asked for an autopsy so results could be used by those researching links between McIntyre powder and neurological damage.
We will not give up the fight! We will not give up the fight!
A rally to commemorate those injured or killed because of their jobs. Janice Martel is there. She has one last plea to those who've gathered.
It's hard for me to be here today. When my dad died, he died without answers. He doesn't know what the effects of the aluminum dust were, but he knows that I'm fighting and he knows that I will see this through.
She may be succeeding. Ontario's Workplace Safety Board now says it'll reconsider a decades-long policy of refusing compensation for exposure to aluminum powder. Daniel Lack, Al Jazeera, Sudbury, Ontario.
Talking Stocks is after the break. Stay with us. Welcome back. It's time now for Talking Stocks. 45 stocks traded today, of which 15 advanced, 22 declined, and 8 traded firm. The main JC index declined by 2,085 points to close at over 251,000 points. The junior index also declined by 6 points to close at more than 3,000 points. Over 5 million units traded, valued at more than $67 million on the Jamaican dollar market. And on the US dollar market, over 297,000 units traded, valued at more than $77,000 US dollars. Jetcon Corporation, with over 1 million units changing hands, accounted for 35% of the market volume. Lasco Manufacturing was second with 769,919 units trading. Lasco Distributors accounted for over 518,000 units, amounting to 9% of the market volume, crossing the floor. 138 Student Living was a top advancer, up 48 cents to close at $5.50, followed by Caribbean Cement Company up $2.17 to close at $28.78, and Proven Investments up a cent to close at 25 cents. The main decliners were Sagicor Group, down $1.47 to close at $32.04, followed by Berger Paints losing 75 cents to close at $17.94, and Carreras down 4 cents, $4.07 to close at $103.98. And that's all the news we have for this evening, but before we go, a recap of our top story. National Housing Trust, NHT, is clarifying its position to start using credit reports in the processing and management of loans as of this month. Thanks for watching. For more content, visit our website at batvja.com. I'm Andrew Laidley. Pleasant viewing.